Happy.
And howdy, everyone. Happy Sabbath. Welcome to Word Redeux, number 83. Howdy, Landon.
How's it going?
Howdy, Aiden.
Howdy.
You didn't know I was a ventriloquist.
A blur in the back.
Yeah.
Howdy.
So, how was everybody's week?
Good.
Busy.
Who doesn't love school?
Okay. Hey. Revelation 18:4 tells us, "Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, nor partake in her plagues, or receive of her plagues." Find out how to come out of her. Go to c2kreport.com. If you like reading the Bible, go to kingjamesbibleonline.org. They have the regular King James that you're familiar with and the original 1611. You can go to blueletterbible.org for multiple translations, esword.net for multiple translations. You can download the King James for free. BibleHub.com, multiple resources there. And BibleStudyTools.com, also multiple resources, but they got the audio Bible, which is pretty fancy. Some of you may be familiar with that. Okay. Now, I'm just going to need you to repeat all that back to me, Landon.
Eastward, auto read.
Okay. Very good. Today, we're continuing on in the book of Deuteronomy with chapters 13 and 14. Okay, let me let Scratchy in real quick. And, hey, it's good timing, dog. Come on. All right. Must be time for another nap. Okay. So, everybody on your own time, pray for people in the hurricane-affected areas that it got cold. There's people living in summer tents. Summer, not some or. That summer tents, that is not comfortable when it's frosty. That it's still almost all private response. Still got FEMA trying to seize private relief. Put a stop to it, right? Find someone local. And I'm told I'll be getting an address for a little bit later, so that we can help out with coats and blankets and stuff. Coats, blankets, warm stuff for winter. Anyways, let's go ahead and pray in. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for this time today to come together for fellowship, for edification, for learning, for reveling in the word that you have left us, this letter of instructions and just guidance on how to live as you created us. We're very grateful for that. We ask your blessing on everybody that's here now and in the future. And as mentioned a moment ago, please continue putting your blessing on those, your coverage and protection, and give your strength to those that are involved in the various hurricane relief efforts, whether it be in rescue or recovery or just shipping supplies or doing cleanup. And we thank you for that. All these things we ask in Jesus Yeshua's name. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Let's see. I think I got that ready. And let me get this ready. Let's see. Do I get that ready first or do I get the other thing ready first? I got this ready, so there it is. And there you go.
All right. Chapter 13. If a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and a sign or wonder that he tells you comes to pass, and if he says, let us go after other gods which you have not known, and let us serve them, you shall not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and hold fast to him. But that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has taught rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of slavery, to make you leave the way in which the Lord your God commanded you to walk. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. If your brother, the son of your mother, or your son, or your daughter, or the wife you embrace, or the friend who is as your own soul entices you secretly, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which neither you nor your father have known, some of the gods of the peoples who are around you, whether near you or far off from you, for the one end of the earth, from the one end of the earth to the other, you shall not yield to him or listen to him, nor shall you now, nor shall your eye pity him, nor shall you spare him, nor shall you conceal him, but you shall kill him. Your hand shall be first against him to put him to death, and afterward the hand of all the people. You shall stone him to death with stones, because he sought to draw you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. And all Israel shall hear and fear, and never again do any such wickedness as this amongst you. If you hear in one of your cities, which the Lord your God is giving you to dwell there, that certain worthless fellows have gone out among you and have drawn away the inhabitants of the city, saying, let us go and serve other gods, which you have not known, then you shall inquire and make search and ask diligently, and behold, if it be true and certain that such an abomination has been done among you, you shall surely put the inhabitants of that city to the sword, devoting it to destruction, all who are in it and its cattle, with the edge of the sword. You shall gather all the spoils into the midst of its open square, and burn the city and all its spoils with fire, as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. It shall be a heap forever. It shall not be built again. None of the devoted things shall stick to your hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger and show you mercy and have compassion on you and multiply you, as he swore to your fathers. If you obey the voice of the Lord your God, keeping all his commandments that I am commanding you today, and doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God.
Deuteronomy chapter 14. You are the children of the Lord your God. You shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth. Thou shalt not eat any abominable things. These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goats, and the piggarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that parteth the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, you shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel, and the hare, and the coney, for they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. They are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. You shall not eat the flesh, eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. You shall not; these ye shall eat of all that are in the waters, all that have fins and scales you shall eat. And whatsoever hath not fins and scales ye may not eat; it is unclean unto you. Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat: the eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the glede, and the kite and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl and the nighthawk and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the gear eagle and the cormorant and the stork and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and the bat. And every creeping thing that flieth is unclean to you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls you may eat. You shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat, or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name. There the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, then thou shalt turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household, and the Levite that is within thy gates. Thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. And at the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thine gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thy hand which thou doest. Oh man, did I have that on you the whole time?
No, you had it on the scripts.
Okay.
I would have told you. I would have said. I would have stopped.
Dude, quit showing me, man. Okay, let's go back to chapter 13, shall we? Okay. Man, that lays it out right from the beginning, talking about false prophets.
Right. I just couldn't help. I was stuck on thinking, does he believe it? Does he actually believe it? Or is he just trying to lead people astray? But I mean, who knows?
Either way. I mean, if he gives them signs, then they come to pass. And then they say, let's go worship other gods. That's pretty much a no-go.
Yeah.
A no bueno go.
Every time I've had a dream that came true, it freaked me out. And it wasn't until because it was stuff about like me moving in this place, and it wasn't until I sat down after I moved my furniture in the exact way the dream was, and I sat down and I'm like, oh, and but it wasn't until like I finally accepted it that like maybe this is a good thing, maybe God's like trying to show me what's next. Then I stopped having those dreams. It was kind of frustrating, but every time I've had a dream and then it came true and I remembered that I had the dream before, I was like just scared, you know. I don't.
Yeah. But were you saying, hey, let's go worship Ronald McDonald?
No.
Okay. See, we're good then.
Well, actually, I was in fear. So the dream about this house, there was a big party. I think I told you that before. And all these people were just behaving and there was trash everywhere. And I'm like trying to pick up bottles and all this stuff. And they're like, what are you doing? And so that's what stood out to me. And I was like, none of that ever happened, by the way. I did set up the furniture exactly like it was in the dream. And it just weirded me out that there was all this chaos. And, but but no, I was actually, it kind of made me go like, God, please don't let that happen. I don't want all these people in my house destroying it.
Can't blame you.
Right.
That. So yeah, I mean that's very clear, and you know, like it says in Hebrews, Jesus Christ, the same yesterday, today, forever. That when you come to the realization that that our God, our Father, is not going to change things that He said to do because He's the same no matter what, you realize there's a whole bunch of false teaching out there that are leading you away from that.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay. So then, even if it's your family, your immediate family, you don't consent. You go, okay, let's go do that, and don't listen to them. You don't pity them, but you lay your hands on them and drag them out. This person is trying to get me to worship Metallica. Okay, maybe not Metallica, but some type of idol, right? No? Okay. Anything else jumping out to you in 13?
Not really. Just gotta destroy everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's a pretty big one. Destroy every inhabitant of the city with the edge of the sword, and the cattle thereof with the edge of the sword. Why would you do that? Why would he have us do that? Destroy the cattle too.
Yeah, maybe they were. I firmly believe that we are devolving. If you look at ancient structures, I don't think that we're progressing. So whatever we can do today, I think we could have done 10 times as much. And I'm talking about with like the way that we modify animals so that we get more meat or whatever. They could probably do so much more back, just way back. And I don't know. I think once you open yourself up to be liberal and not guided by God, just liberal with all of the things that you let in, it's kind of like, why not? You just, inject this in that steer and watch them, What? What?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Lynn. It was dedicated to their God. He's like, I don't even want it. Those cows didn't protest being dedicated to their God.
One letter off.
Que creo. Okay. Anyways. Yep. Smite them all. Smite them all. And then burn with fire the city. That's pretty big. But other cities they're allowed to keep and take over. So what is that deciding factor?
I don't know. I mean, in this specific instance, he's talking about cities that they dwell in already.
Mm-hmm.
That they've turned from God,
Right?
versus the ones that they've went in cities that they've sacked and taken over,
Yep,
or
right.
are going to. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all right. Anything else for 13 that you noticed?
No, sir.
Yep. Yep. Don't keep anything that's got a curse on it. Anything dedicated to another god. That that Jehovah may turn from the fierceness of his anger and show you mercy and have compassion upon you and multiply you as he has sworn to your fathers. When you shall hearken to the voice of Jehovah thy God, to keep all his commandments, which I command thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of Jehovah thy God. Okay, let's go to 14. Now here's where all the questions started. You don't give yourself 2 eyebrows before you go to a funeral, is the way I'm reading that. Where was that question? Yeah, it was up here somewhere. Yep, right there, April. Baldness between your eyes, like plucking your unibrow? Yeah, I think so. That's a pretty simple thing, isn't it? Maybe. Let's look at this. See what the actual...
But why? Like, I don't understand.
I don't know. I think it goes with any sort of dedication to the dead, right?
Hey, like symbolizing the cutoff from life to death.
Right. Yep. Yep. And that's correct. All apex predators are a no. That's a big negative. That.
Yeah, I don't think it's healthy to eat wolf.
Yes, buffalo is clean. They have cloven hooves, and they chew their cud. Right? Chewing cud is when they eat their grass, and then they burp it back up into their mouth and go, "Oh, look, there's some more," and go to town on it. Yep. Any abominable thing, definition of the abominable animals with the word abominable used, it's back in Leviticus. And abominable means, let me make sure it's the correct understanding. Hebrew 8441, te'abah, disgusting, abhorrence, an idolatry or idol. It's from Hebrew 8581, which is ta'ab, loathe, detest. You know, it's funny that people argue they're allowed to eat that stuff now. Well, Jesus made everything clean when he died on the cross. And then they point to Acts 10 when Peter had the vision of the unclean things in the sheet. And they really hate it when you say, and then Peter ran down off the roof and said, "Slaughter the fatted pig, we're having a barbecue." Because they know that's not how he explained the dream. Yep, that's right. All this stuff designated unclean are garbage disposals, both on land and in the water.
Yeah.
There are filters. And then, you know, it's a two-edged sword no matter what, right? If you eat shrimp or mussels, you're eating the filter. You're putting that filth into your system. But you're also taking the filter out of where it was put in creation to keep the water clean. And we don't know why the water is so polluted now.
I wonder if that's why Louisiana water is so like murky, because you can't see through it at all.
Because everybody's eating all them crawdads.
Uh-huh.
What about mussels? Guys eat mussels?
I mean, maybe they might. They'll eat anything here.
So they're like Chinese.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. We are competing. We're definitely competing. But definitely, you know, crawfish and shrimp and crabs and all that.
Yep.
Lots of catfish.
Well. Look what the dog dragged in. Howdy, GR. Why'd I call him Bob a dog? Golly, calm down. All right. Yep. Let's see here. Now, interesting too, because when you get into the people that like controlling other people, you know what I'm talking about? That this says, you shall eat of all that are in the waters, all that have fins and scales. And they say some of the fish only have some scales. You're not allowed to eat those. Well, that's not what it says. It doesn't say some scales. It says scales. What if they only have 2 scales? Right? You're getting into adding to God's word, in my opinion. Okay, I'll take your word for that. Remember being a kid.
With crawfish, though, I argue that with everybody here. I'm like, boil it without the seasoning, because I cook with crawfish boil all the time. It's delicious. It's the seasoning. It's like it just smells like rotten fish if you don't have the seasoning.
Well, that's I noticed that with when I got applewood smoked rock salt and threw it in with a batch of pinto beans, and it tasted exactly like ham hocks and beans. Hocks and beans. And then that's when I realized, oh, that's all they're doing. They're getting the salt from the ham hocks or the bacon or whatever. Right? So they're putting something we need on something that's unclean.
Right.
And convincing us that that's what it is that's wonderful. No. We need salt. We are electrical. We need those electrolytes.
They used to feed lobster to the prisoners at Alcatraz, and now it's a delicacy.
Nah. Whatever roach they can pull up out of the ocean. I guess that's more like a scorpion.
Huh.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Then all these birds. Yep, like April said earlier, all the apex predator birds. But then it also includes the raven after his kind. So ravens, crows. What else is in that group? Minor birds, I think. Maybe not minor birds. That. But then look how often in Scripture that our Father uses the raven, right? First creature off the ark to go search for land that doesn't come back, feasting on dead floating giant bodies. That, and then uses the ravens to bring bread and flesh to his prophet.
You ever seen those videos of them? The birds figured out. I forget what it was. The guy. Oh yeah, he would feed the ravens, and they would bring him little trinkets and buttons and sticks and all that. And
Yep.
then one day they brought him $1, and it was like a $5 bill, so he bought him like a better, more gourmet bread, and it trained the ravens. He wasn't trying to do that, but it trained them to be like, oh, find money, and then, and then it's
Bring
like,
him that funny paper.
right, yeah.
Yep. Yes, ravens are highly intelligent. According to the White Mountain Wildlife Center, the crows are a little smarter than that. Yep, and supposedly pigs are smart too. What's that say about them marching up the ramp into the slaughterhouse when you compare them to humans?
Yeah.
That you know what I'm talking about. 2 to 21. Okay, anyways. They pretty much cover everything in there. And this is an interesting thing too. Anything that dies of itself,
Right. Yeah.
you can't eat it, but you can give it to other people to eat. Don't get me wrong. They'll cook it. They'll throw it on that taco truck, man. Or whatever type of truck they got. And then this one sentence, this one clause in Deuteronomy 14:21, thou shalt not seethe a kid, baby goat, in his mother's milk. Let me let Charlotte out. But that's the whole reason that you got the ordinances of men that say you can't have meat and dairy together. You can't have a hamburger. You can't with cheese on it.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. That's the whole reason tofutti was invented. Soybean ice cream. Nope. I think that means if it's still nursing, right? Don't kill it. So it has to be weaned, or it literally means don't milk the mom and then kill its baby and boil it in its mom's milk.
Right. Seems a little harsh.
Yeah, that, as we found out a few studies ago, is unclean, April. We are not to eat the blood. I don't care where you're from. He's prepping us to be called back. Now, isn't this interesting? Okay, everything that you get that's an increase, right? But it says just the increase. So if you get like 100 bushels of corn this year, you give your tithe of that, right? Your portion of that. But then next year, you get 115 bushels of corn. Your tithe is only on that increase, right? Is that the way I'm reading it? Is that the way you're reading it?
I didn't even think about that. Oh, hang on.
Whoa. Abraham had meat and cheese with the three angels on the Tekufah, Taco Tuesday. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is only the increase. But what a blessing, what a blessing it is. And if you're given that portion every year, except the third year, as we find out here a little bit later, right? But every year we give that portion, which is part of that, come out of her, my people, right? You don't have the choice what you do with your first fruits now. Your first fruits are taken before you even see your fruit of your labor.
I was thinking it's kind of reminiscent of like what he was doing with the cities at first, when he said, dedicate it all to destruction, burn it all. And then eventually 2 or 3 cities down the way, he goes, okay, now you can keep the spoil. And it, I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of that. Even though you're only given a portion of the whole tithe the first year, the second year, it's a much smaller portion, if that's the case, of the whole.
Right. Yep. And then interesting, you're supposed to take it to the location with God's name on it, right? With Yah on it, to where he says. And if it's too far for you to move the increase of your sheep, your cattle, the other stuff, he's saying sell it, convert it to money, and then bring the money. And then when you get there, buy that stuff again. And this is how they perverted the temple, right? As people started just saying, I'll just take money and then I can buy, doves with mites on them or lice and sacrifice those. That's a good question, April. Yeah, food bank, take it to your church, take it to independent living for the elderly. A lot of those elderly people are on, fixed incomes and really struggling for food. You can take it there. You can find a place that helps out.
You can deep fry it in the middle of a Bible study. I'm kidding.
I hope they're good taters. Yep, you can convert it to money if you so choose, I suppose. What is this? Oh boy. So, anyways. And then what is that here somewhere about the third year? Oh, here we go. Verse 28. At the end of 3 years, you bring forth all the tithe of your increase from that year. So what's going on the other 2 years? Right? All right. The other 2 years, it's going to the place where he designates. But now you give it to the people in your gates. You lay it up within your gates, within your own gates. Right? For the Levite, for the stranger, for the fatherless, for the widow. And don't get all your undies all twisted in a bunch. That is not talking about this Bible study has been brought to you by Big John's Diner. Okay. Anyways. At the end of that 3 years, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow, right? These are the people, though, that are following God's law. Remember, it says one law for the natural born and one for the stranger. There is no special treatment for one and no good treatment for the other. Very much like what we're seeing now in the West. The law only applies to those that don't want strangers that don't abide by the law. Does that make sense?
No.
Alice's would be closed on Sabbath. Okay, anyways. Anything else? Got anything else for 14?
No, sir.
Has anybody got anything?
God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you. I didn't sneeze. Why are you telling me God bless you?
Potato soup done.
Okay. You might think so, but maybe they're not. Okay. All right. So again, everybody, just keep the relief workers, rescue workers, cleanup crews, the people that are still here with us. All those that are doing recoveries, body recoveries. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's not a pretty job. that, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Share. Subscribe, like. Ring the bell thingy. Yep, all of them need God blessings for certain. For certain? For certain. Okay. Is that anything else profound you want to tell everybody?
No, I don't want to announce it yet. I'm still working on
You
it.
don't want to announce it yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you're making me curious. Okay. At any rate, everybody, thank you much. Thank you, Landon, coming and reading, hanging out. Thanks, Aiden.
Yeah, we just can't hear.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody, have a beautiful day. Love you all. Bye.